Hello, I'm Tobey. I'm a Spring Far Shikang master and a psychotherapist. The topic of this talk is on longevity with a specific focus on pain and suffering. I know, delightful topic. But longevity is about wanting to live a long time, not for the sake of being older, but for the sake of knowing more things so that you know who you are. And it takes a long time to understand the dynamics of life. Pain and suffering is a part of that. All of us, have pain. All of us receive pain. Things happen to us, a lot of pain. I look on my computer all over the place. There's pain going on in all sorts of different forms. Suffering, though, is a way that you interpret things that are happening to you. So one thing can happen to one person and another thing can happen to another person. Kind of like the same pain, but they'll interpret it differently. So all of us interpret kind of like I'm responsible for the suffering I have because that's how I am interpreting what's going on. And then out of my suffering, out of my interpretation of life, of my pain, comes my behavior. So when we see people who are suffering, one of the tendencies is to want to help that person with suffering. However, if their behavior is really difficult to get close to, then it's really a complex problem. So understanding really is a healing tool. One of the longevity pieces really is the more you understand things, you have an understanding really about how come people do different things. So when you look at suffering in the world, all this suffering going on, and it's all different. It is all different. Now that doesn't mean you just let it all happen. So your suffering, things that you see happening in the world today or in the world tomorrow, all those things, you're not paying attention to everything. Your way of life, the choices you made to live, the decisions you made in your life to be a certain way or a certain place, hold certain beliefs, contributes to your own suffering. So too about other people. So part of the longevity is to understand everyone really has, a history. So can I see the suffering in others? Can I see the suffering in myself? And is there a way to connect with that, to show compassion? Now, when I have suffering for me, I might have a need to revenge or a little bit of hatred or a little bit of anger, a little bit, for your own well-being, for your own longevity. Understand it as just a little burst, just a little touch, and kind of move away from that. Holding on to that suffering for longer and longer is not healthy for your health. And it doesn't mean that you forgive, so to speak, other people's behaviors either. Sometimes the most loving, the most compassionate thing that you can do for others is almost to say, to catch them and to have them be in jail. I worked with somebody just recently, he's had his 5th, DWI. I have compassion for him, he's kind of hurting other people. Sir, the best thing for you is to spend some time in jail. I don't have to say, you rotten, no good scoundrel, you are a terrible person, and we're going to send you to jail for a long time. Oh, you could, but that's hurting you. So that doesn't mean that the suffering of others you excuse. Because sometimes the best, a balm, so to speak, the best healing tool is kind of, them being accountable. You being accountable for your suffering and behavior, and then being accountable for their suffering and behavior. So people looking for justice and equality, people have to be accountable for that on both sides. So the idea of pain and suffering is the way you interpret. Not everybody interprets life the same way. So you're taking care of your suffering, not holding on to your own anger, your own hatreds, the bursts of things, revenge that you want. But it is not like giving up. It is entering into life that may help your understanding of suffering so you can live a stronger life, yet also hold other people accountable, for the things they do and the things they don't understand they do, and how come it turns out in such a horrible way. So the entry into the world of pain and suffering, so much going on, but you come back to your heart. Come back to your heart. Thank you for listening.